Hi, today we're taking a look at the PMO dashboard for Mission Control. In this video, we'll be covering a few topics as follows. 1. How to set up the dashboard. 2. How to view the dashboard. And 3. How to understand the values in the dashboard. Setting up the dashboard. In order to use this effectively, we need to implement action progress tracking and completion percentage management, set our desired colour breakpoints for PMO scores, and be mindful of our data entry being completed accurately and in a timely fashion. Let's go to the Mission Control console to enable action progress tracking. Click on the Mission Control tab within the app and then scroll down to the Schedule Action Progress Tracking section. From here, we simply need to tick the Progress Tracking Active checkbox and then select our preferred weekly run day and time before clicking Save. The way this works is each week a snapshot of your action completion information for each project is captured and stored in the Notes and Attachments section of the project as a JSON file. This information is then referenced when you are viewing the PMO dashboard for that period in time. Back on the Mission Control console page, we also need to set the Use Completion Percentage functionality checkbox to True. Now let's set our breakpoints for the dashboard. The breakpoints allow us to specify the range of scores that we want to display in the red and green categories, with anything between being coloured yellow. Red should be used to indicate a bad score and green should be used to indicate a good score. Because good and bad scores can differ from business to business, you can specify the breakpoints that you want to use via the Mission Control console page here. Once you have entered your preferred breakpoints, simply click the Update button to apply the change. If we take a look at the PMO dashboard, this results in a change here from green and yellow to yellow and red scores for this example. Okay, so moving on to data considerations. The dashboard calculates scores based on a number of values in the system at particular points in time. This means in order for the dashboard to return accurate scores, the data must be completed correctly and in a timely manner. The specific fields that need to be considered are on the project, action and time log objects. Let's take a look at the relevant fields. At the project level, use the Display on PMO Dashboard checkbox to determine whether or not to include the specific project in the PMO dashboard. Also ensure that the project budget, total hours scheduled, and hours per day fields are populated to ensure that dashboard scores can be calculated. At the action level, ensure that the completion percentage, start date, end date, and hours scheduled billable are all completed, and at the time log level, ensure that the date and hours completed are recorded. Ensuring that data is completed in a timely fashion will ensure that you get the best results from the PMO dashboard. For example, if you complete an action on Wednesday but don't update that action until Friday, then the PMO dashboard may show incorrectly for that week, depending on when your action progress tracking is scheduled. When you are ready to start using the PMO dashboard, you can launch this directly from the Mission Control console page. Then you'll be able to enter your desired dates to return performance scores for your projects. Understanding how the dates work will assist you to decide which dates to enter. After you have loaded the dashboard, you can then drill down into further detail for each project milestone and action. Let's take a look at how this works. From the Mission Control console page, let's scroll down to the PMO dashboard section and then click the View Dashboard button to open up the PMO dashboard. From here, we need to enter in our master and comparison dates before loading the dashboard. The master and comparison dates determine which time logs and which action progress tracking information to use for the calculations. When you enter a date, the PMO dashboard will retrieve all time logs and action completion information up until the last day of that week according to when your action progress tracking is scheduled. The coloured CPI and SPI scores at the top of the dashboard are the performance indicators for all of your projects, and underneath you can use the project information section to get a breakdown of scores for individual projects, milestones and actions. Use the expandable arrows to drill down into further detail like this. The two main values displayed on the PMO dashboard are the Cost Performance Index (CPI) and Schedule Performance Index (SPI), which show you how your projects are performing against your budgeted cost and scheduled timeframes. These figures are calculated using a number of other calculations, which we will also take a look at here. These are the planned value (PV), earned value (EV), actual cost (AC), and recognised revenue (RR). When looking at the dashboard scores, it is good to know that a score of 1 indicates that the projects are running exactly as planned. Scores greater than 1 means that they are performing better than planned, and scores less than 1 mean that they are performing worse than planned. The colours of red, green and yellow are assigned to reflect good and bad scores and in between, based on the breakpoints that you set on the Mission Control console page. Let's take a look at what each of the scores means and how they are calculated. Cost Performance Index (CPI) identifies how closely a project is performing against its budgeted cost. A score of 1 for the CPI indicates that the project is running exactly to budget. Anything greater than 1 means it's running under budget, and anything under 1 means it is running over budget. The CPI figure is calculated using the following formula. CPI equals earned value divided by actual cost. Schedule Performance Index (SPI) is similar to the Cost Performance Index, but rather than measure budget, it measures delivery schedule to identify how closely a project is performing against its scheduled time frame. Again, a score of 1 for the SPI indicates that the project is running exactly to schedule. Anything greater than a 1 means it is running ahead of schedule, and anything under a 1 means it is running behind schedule. The SPI figure is calculated using the following formula. SPI equals earned value divided by planned value. Now let's drill down into some of those other values to see how they are calculated. The planned value, or PV, is the percentage of revenue you are planned to earn during the period you are evaluating. It is calculated by figuring out the number of working days within the assessment period divided by the total working days for the action and multiplied by the hours scheduled billable value. The earned value identifies how much revenue has been earned based on how much of the work has been completed as a result of the effort expended to date. This is calculated using the completion percentage multiplied by the hours scheduled billable value. The actual cost identifies how much of the revenue has already been used in achieving the current completion percentage. This is calculated using the number of hours completed multiplied by the billable hourly rate. The recognised revenue identifies how much of the total revenue due to be earned has been recognised so far based on the completion percentage. This is calculated using the completion percentage multiplied by the hours scheduled billable value. Thank you for watching this training video. If you have any further questions regarding the PMO dashboard for Mission Control, please email support@aprika.com.au.